Okay, in this video, we're going to start updating some of our files that are been copied into Open Roads Designer. These files came from SS10. And what I typically like to do, and it's really, I don't pick them in any particular order except for file size. I normally pick off the largest files first and go down in order. So the very first one I opened up is a terrain existing file. And so that file is right here. And if you're looking along in our document, updating terrain files is right here. So if I click on that, it'll take you down there. And in the document, it'll show you the old MODOT old SS10 feature definitions, and then the new ones that we have out here. And so it'll go through showing you kind of the differences between the old and the new feature definitions, that there are some changes that were made, and that's why we need to update these terrain models to the new feature definitions. And so it kind of goes through the steps and shows you what to delete, and it kind of went really deep into deleting a lot of the settings. I do it a little bit quicker. I don't quite go into as much depth as this document does. But if you really want to clean up your files, you can follow the document, or you can just follow what I do, and it should work just fine for you. So we got this file here, and the first thing I always do when I get into a file is I open up the Explorer. It used to be called Project Explorer in SS10. Now it's just called Explorer, and it looks something like this here. And I look for a couple settings because our users can sometimes do things that aren't quite 100% right, but it works for them. So you got to be aware that there might be certain things in this file that probably shouldn't be in here. So the first thing I do is I look at Open Roads Model in Explorer. This will pretty much tell you everything that's in this file, and for the most part it looks like just terrain models, and you can expand down through there. If I come across a non-featurized terrain model, I don't upgrade that. I just go to the ones that have a feature on it, an SS10 feature. So we're going to update this to the ORD feature by selecting it and going to Properties. And when Properties comes open, you can resize it, make it wider. But all we're going to do is come in here and select the right feature definition, not the old SS10 feature definition, but the ORD feature definition. So we're going to pick the same one. They're named the same between SS10 and ORD. Okay. Once that's been updated, and this is where you would do it. You could also do it out here, but I tend to think it's easier to do it in Open Roads, the model section here. The next thing I do for terrain models only is I come down to Open Road Standards, and you'll notice that when I change that feature definition, one thing that's changed between SS10 and ORD for MODOT feature definitions is the boundary, and this is an existing boundary, will be, for existing, will be green, and for design boundaries, they will be gold. So this did not update like it should for an ORD feature definition. So I'll show you the steps to get that to turn green. So I go into Open Road Standards and I expand out, and I get into the active file. I go into feature definitions, and then I go to the terrain area. And since we have a terrain, there should be a little triangle next to it. And here's the new feature definition, and if you see a folder here called Terrain Display, those are the old feature definitions from SS10. So what you need to do, like we did earlier, is we need to update all the terrains that have a feature definition, and once you do that, you can then delete this folder. Okay, and so right now that's all I do for terrains. Now to get the correct symbology to show up, what I do then, if there is no other information in this drawing, I will then update standards from dgnlib. But before I do that, I just want to make sure there's no, sometimes they like putting survey data in this file. And so I'm going to go down to the survey tab, and I'm just going to go make sure there is no field books, and there is none. So I feel pretty confident that the only thing in this file is just the terrain itself. So I'm going to go back to standards. I'm going to go to where it's the active file, and I'm just going to right click update standards from dgnlib. And when you do that, this terrain should have a green background like it does for ORD. And so since the terrain was only in this file, that's all you need to do to this file. If there was survey data in there, you would go to my section on updating survey data. If there was alignments in this file, you would go to my video on updating alignments. Typically, the last thing you would do is do that update standards from dgnlib. So if there was survey data in there, you would want to update the survey data. If there was alignments in there, you would probably want to update the alignments, and then at the very end, do an update standards from dgnlib. All right. So we're going to go into the next file in the next video.